Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with SABIA KHATUN. Well, what a term it has been for some of our students who have been attending school and successfully have completed the term back after some parts of the lockdown. This summer's GCSE and A-level exams in England have been cancelled for the second year. How has this left the students in what they feel and the impacts of all the 3 lockdowns that we have had? We will discover and find out what this second year has been like. And, you know, we all know and are aware that the exam regulations from Ofqual and the Department for Education have been working together and to consider how to grade pupils, and in a way that reflects what their hard work will achieve. Formal exams, as we know, have been cancelled. So we will now find out how this has affected students in what they feel and what can we envisage of their journey of this second year and the impacts of the lockdowns. So let's meet our guests. We have today with me Thuraya Hussein, who's a GCSE student. Welcome to my show, Thuraya.
Hello.
Thank you for coming and making this time. I know you've just come back from school, yeah, it would be great to speak with you. And my second guest is Alisha Ahmed, who's an A-level student. So welcome, Alisha.
Hi, SABIA.
Brilliant to have both of you on the show. I'm going to go right into this now, girls. Right. Can you actually tell me how you are taking this, the fact that the pandemic has disrupted and it saw that GCSEs, A-levels, you know, exams are cancelled once again. So if I can start with possibly Thuraya, who is our GCSE student, how has it been for you, if you could share with us?
Well, I think the first lockdown was more stressful as we didn't know the circumstances, you know, no one really knew what was happening, nor did the government, none of that. But obviously now I'm more comfortable with the situation because I know what's happening with my exams and I'm more confident that I will do better.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you think? What do you think, you know, it's been like? I mean, do you feel from the support that was available last time to maybe some of your peers who you know and are aware of, do you feel that, you know, you are getting, you know, that support fairly this year?
I mean, I think so, yeah. Like, not as much as I should be, but yeah, I'm getting some, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Alisha, if you can give us some thoughts about what you're feeling and the fact that you are now doing your A-levels and you've had an experience of the GCSE last year. You know, what are your thoughts? You know, I mean, students now will, you know, either sit mini exams or the fact that it's teacher assessed grades. Please share us your thoughts.
Well, last year I was in Thuraya's shoes because my GCSEs were actually cancelled. I was part of that year group, so it was very chaotic, I felt like. I think Thuraya has a bit more clarity now because she knows how it will work, but last year we were all thrown under the bus. Nobody knew how the assessments would, how it would work. So we all had a hard time and there was a lot of anxiety towards our grades. So I think that last year was completely different. It was a lot more stressful, but this year there's a bit of hope. I think there's more hope for how it will go for Thuraya and her year group.
Okay. Do you feel, Alisha, though, the fact that you had oh my God, the shambles of not knowing last year, you know, whether you're going to be assessed with the algorithm method, you know, which was crazy, to then having to realize, thank God that they've put a stop to that. And now you're going to be assessed in another way. How did you feel at that time, not knowing how on earth you are going to be assessed, and whether or not you will get the achieved grades that you needed to apply to colleges?
At that time, I was really nervous. I was really worried, and speaking to my peers and friends, they also felt the same, because we all just thought, how will our future be? Like, will we even be able to go to college or sixth form? Because we had no idea how our grades would turn out, especially knowing the fact that the algorithm was very vague and no one knew how it would work. I still don't know completely how our grades were developed, but we just had to put our trust in our teachers and just trust in the education secretary, the government, that they would know what they were doing.
Thuraya, do you have anything that you can throw at Alisha, maybe to pick on, or maybe a bit of a tip of what you can look out for this time round?
I mean, yeah, like they were in a way more different situation than we are now, but obviously now, like, I know from like September, I knew to take my mocks more seriously, because they could have used that for my grades. But yeah, now I know like what to do and actually make sure everything is on point, because I have a chance to make things right for myself.
Brilliant, brilliant. And what about some of your other, peers that you are with? Obviously everyone's ability is different. Everyone studies differently. Everyone learns differently. Did you feel that there was these remote learning that was happening? How did you actually feel that it was going to be for you? Were there moments where you thought, do you know what, I'm going to give up because I really don't know what to do? Or you've probably thought, do I just stop studying? Do I just stop revising? Is there any point, because we don't have exams? What did you actually do?
Yeah, when that was happening, like I did have moments where I was like, there's just no point anymore. Like, I'm probably going to get degraded. But then I was like, there's no point of that, because if I do go back and if there are many assessments, then and I'm not prepared, then what am I going to do? So it's better to be prepared than, sorry.
Alisha, is there anything you can, let Thuraya know that, what she can look out for maybe this time round?
I think it seems like, Thuraya, you have your head screwed on. Like, that everything is going to be taken very more seriously, and that all the work you put in is now as important as your exams. But back then, because the lockdown came suddenly, all the work we had done wasn't taken in that way. Like, we never thought. We did our January mocks, and then nobody thought that our GCSEs would be cancelled and that would be so important. So we actually stopped doing work altogether and revision, because when we came into lockdown, we did do some work for a bit, because there was still uncertainty about how it would be graded. But then our teacher said to us, there's no point you doing any work, because we can only use what you've done before. So in that sense, I wasn't in the same place as Thuraya, because I wasn't working in the way that I knew. I didn't think my work would be used as an assessment.
Did you feel at any point that did you have any motivation around you, or did you feel strongly that what, this is a time now where I've got to find a way that I can self-motivate myself, because this is my future? So this is to Alisha.
Well, honestly, during lockdown, it was very up and down. So sometimes I'd feel really motivated and I'd be thinking about the future, but a lot of the time it was kind of like, what's the point, like Thuraya said, and it was kind of hard to be motivated when you're not going to do any exams.
Thuraya, you've got to apply to colleges as well, or probably you already have.
Yeah.
How did that experience go?
Well, obviously my predicted grades wasn't the best, because again, like a lot of no motivation and stuff. So I was really like demotivated with that because I'd have to put in my predicted grades for like applying for colleges and stuff. Um, but I had emailed all my schools and I was like explaining to them that I could do better on my mocks and so forth. And then in November we had done mocks, which obviously I was prepared at that moment. So I did, pretty well on my mocks, and I put in those mock grades for my predicted in my application forms. So I received conditional offers for every single college or sixth form I've applied to. So yeah.
Okay, so it went fairly okay for you on that.
Yeah.
What about any of your friends or any others that you may know that it didn't go as planned for them? And are you aware of what it is that they could have done, or was it more down to having those mixed emotions and things affecting mentally because of the way it was?
Yeah, a lot of my friends just had the mentality like, what's the point? Like, we're not going to do exams, we're not going to go back to school after the Christmas holidays. There's just no point of doing anything. And obviously, like, a lot of their mental health wasn't in the best place because of, the circumstances. So not a lot of them really cared. But recently, with the news that have come out, they're like, we have the opportunity to make things right. So I feel like everyone's more in a better position now than they were in 2020.
Yes, I would have thought so. Alisha, what do you have to say about Gavin Williamson's whatever it is that he's coming out with? Here's your chance to voice your concern. Go for it.
Well, something I remember he said is he quoted, "We are putting our trust in teachers," and
Right.
I just felt quite mixed emotions about that, because it sounds very like unclear just to say we're putting our trust in teachers, because normally we'd be putting our trust in ourselves, in our exams, our performance. So it is quite nerve-wracking knowing that it's all up to your teachers, and your teachers are now those like high regarded people who that they're going to be in charge of how our grades come out. So I feel like it's a bit controversial, my feelings, but I mean, it's best to just decide I trust my teachers, because then that will help me feel better about the situation.
Yeah. Well, teachers have been given guidelines. So, if they, they have been given the guidelines to say, well, the examination boards will now support them and guide them in how the students can go and get themselves assessed. And I think that is where the teachers need to be well equipped, and I think they would be relying on the support and guidelines they'll be getting to make sure that you're getting the best. And so for the government to say they're trusting the teachers, I think this is where it's going to come to you all as students. How much faith do you have in your teachers? And I think also it depends on your relationship with your teachers. Are you completing the work that they give you? Are you, asking probing questions to them for your learning? Or are you just taking the step back because you're still like not sure what you want to do? I'm going to ask that to Thuraya, if you can share us your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think your relationship with your teachers have like a big impact on this, because being one of those students that don't do their homework on time, that don't pay attention in lesson, things like that, that really does affect your grade, because that doesn't show the teachers what you're capable of. So obviously showing to them what you can do, and like being that student that does everything on time, has everything on point, that shows them that you're capable of doing anything and that you can get the best grades that you want.
That's true. What about you, Alisha? What do you think?
I agree with Thuraya completely. I think that the relationship that you have with your teacher completely affects the way they see you, just as a student all round. The kind of the attitude you bring to class is is going to affect how they see your learning and everything that you do, because you want to show that you put in 100% of effort so that they can see you as a student who deserves the best as well.
Mm-hmm. And what about revising and working from home? Has your parents or siblings or, been in the way, or have they been supportive? How did you find all of that learning towards knowing the fact that you've got exams coming up or assessments coming up? Sorry, not exams, but assessments. How was that environment for you? How did that affect you?
So,
Alisha, yeah.
Oh,
Alisha,
okay, sorry. So my family have been supportive. I haven't necessarily experienced any disruption, because I know that for a lot of people it's hard to share. If you've got to work on your laptop at home, it's hard to share because you've got siblings, and then it's hard to get all your work done. It just depends on the environment. For me, I found it okay. At times, I did prefer having a lot of time and space at home to work, but generally, I do better in school. Being in school helps me get my work done better.
And Thuraya, how has it been for you, in a situation like that?
Well, yeah, I feel like being at home was really good for me, because it gave me a lot of time to work on myself as well. And I felt like I wasn't rushed, I could do everything at my own pace, but I could still be in touch with my teachers. But family wise, I have a very loud family, so it's really hard to focus when you're in a household filled with people that are really loud all the time. So yeah, I feel like school was better for me, revising and learning, because I learnt more in a quiet space.
Yeah. Well, my 16-year-old, she just tells me I'm too loud. I mean, she says, Mum, can you just go to your room? Or, if I don't get the grades, then that's it. It's all your fault. So I'm already getting blamed, and I don't know whether I'm getting the nerves or, for her to be assessed, because I am aware that every day, I don't know if that is how it is for you, Thuraya, but for GCSEs, to the school that my daughter attends, they are actually getting tested on a subject every day, and that mark will go towards, their final assessment grades, So Thuraya, is that similarly or more or less how it is?
Nah, we have that for French. We have assessments that AQA give us every lesson that we have for French. For other subjects English, we have ones every 2 weeks. Maths, we only have one every month, because that's just based on what we did at home to see if we were actually doing work at home. But yeah, with other subjects, we haven't really had any other assessments.
Yeah. And how has the A-levels, been working out, Alisha?
For me, it's been completely different. I feel like no real signs of lockdown are present in our learning time at school. So I haven't really done any proper assessments at school, but we do a lot of practice. I think that's just part of A-levels anyway, doing exam practice. But it hasn't been a lot of assessments, and I didn't know that. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah. One other thing that's, I'm quite interested in, I think our viewers who, may be watching, is the fact that there's no interaction, or hasn't been, it's been very minimal. How has that affected either of you? Thuraya, if you want to go first.
Alisha can go first.
Oh, okay. No worries. Do you mean
no, as in where if you were in the classroom, you're in a large group, you've got interactive work going on, you're able to share ideas, pick on each other's brains, and test, each other and things like that. Has that not having that, has that, affected your progress, if I can say it like that?
I'm not sure, because personally, I do like independent working, because I'm a person that does get distracted by others, and because I'm quite sociable, so normally I do get more done just being by myself. not really speaking to anyone, as much as that can sound a bit like maybe not the best thing, but
I hope you have friends, Alisha, you know, but yes.
Yeah, I do, but it's just I just have too much fun with my friends, so I do need to be alone to get work done in class, at home as well.
You sound like a very good, serious student who's not going to have anything come in the way of building your future, and that's brilliant. You know, that's really great. Is it the same for you, Thuraya? You know, how do you work best?
I think, yeah, it's similar for me, but I feel like I learn more hearing people repeat things, or like being tested by my friends, or, you know, if I'm like revising with my friends and I teach them a topic, I feel like I'm processing the information more. So I feel like I'm a bit of both. Like when it comes to like sitting down, you know, focusing, I'm just better off with myself. But like if I'm like a few hours before a test, I think I'm going to need friends or teachers to just, you know, talk to about it, because it's just way better like that. Yeah.
Yes. And you know, one last thing I want to say before I get your last thoughts and opinions, as we are coming almost to the end of our show, is your guardians and parents at home. You know, how are they feeling about this whole thing, Alisha?
For me, my parents were always more optimistic than me. They're just really reassuring, as our parents do want to be, because if we see them worried or stressed, then that will cause us to be stressed. But if my mom and dad are calm, then it keeps me calm. And they did tell me throughout last year that just whatever happens is meant to be. They were like, "You're a great student, you'll do well," and that's what they did for me.
So brilliant. And Thuraya, you know, how has it been for your parents, guardians at home?
Yeah, my parents, yeah, they were very supportive, but they would make sure I'd never be off track, like with anything. They would keep me on the right path, you know, just in case anything happens, you know, like they'd make sure I can't slip up. Like, you know, they're being very, I'd say controlling, but not really controlling, because I like it like that. I feel like it's
looking out for you.
Yeah. I feel like it's just way better for me. And like Alisha said, my mum was always just saying to me, like, you know, if you fail, like if anything happens, it happens, you know, it's meant to be. So, you know, just keep your head up high.
Yes, no, that's good. It's good to see. I mean, I think you two girls have got your head on your shoulders, you know what's happening, where you're heading. And, you know, I think also, you know, being a guardian, a parent myself, I can see that, you know, I wouldn't want my child to feel, you know, any stress, so I'm going to do my part. And then there's students like yourselves, you know, you want to make sure your parents aren't stressed out, you know. So, you know, you know, for you, that is a support in itself, that, you know, your parents are giving you good tips and advice on that. Okay, so any last few things I would like Alisha and Thuraya, both of you, if you can give our like-minded students who are out there what negativities they could be facing and be finding themselves in, and some, maybe one or two tips from both of you of how they can go about it, and you know, how they can prepare themselves. So Alisha, if I start with you.
So I would just say to the students that are out there in the same position, I would say just keep going and do your best, because your best is all that you can ever do, and your best is enough. So just do whatever you can, and as long as you're happy and positive, you will get the best out of yourself. So that's what I would say to everyone.
Okay, and Thuraya, any tips for what is working for you that may work for other students?
If you're feeling, you know, stressed or anything, you know, just take a break. Like, don't overload yourself with too much, you know, do some meditation, do something to, you know, calm yourself down. And also, you know, don't spend too much time on like social media or all of that, or like watching movies. You know, you need to have your priorities straight. Like, you know, I recommend a revision timetable. That's always really useful for you. But like I said, if you're having a bad day, or if you're like feeling stressed or overloaded, take a day off, take a break, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's a great advice. What do you think, Alisha? Anything else you can add on?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Thuraya. Just everything she said made a lot of sense, and especially about overloading. That is something that my grandmother also told me. She always told me, don't overload yourself.
Take
do
time
the best you
out.
can. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yes, brilliant. Well, ladies, you know, I'm going to wish you all the best. And I know, you know, we can't really say how we feel unless we're in it ourselves. But I think you girls are doing amazing from the sound of what you're saying to me. And, you know, I hope our viewers out there, others, you know, can take on board what you have mentioned today. And, you know, hopefully everyone can take it easy and not, you know, trip over killing themselves. And you've given some very good tips there as well. So thank you for making the time to come on, and I do wish you well. And I think, you know, there's an Easter break, so I hope that you can take a break and not overdo things as well. So thank you for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having us.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Yes, see you again later soon. Thank you. Well, viewers, we have now heard from our students basically what it is exactly like, and you know what we can look out for. GCSE and A-level exams have been cancelled for 2021. And this is due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the third lockdown that actually saw schools closed for various different reasons. We are aware that teachers will be assessing students beginning in May towards end of and early June. And teachers will be submitting grades to the exam boards by around June. That's what we're aware of from the government. The exam boards apparently will be performing quality assurance checks on the submitted grades throughout June. Students will be issued with their grades most likely in early July. On that note, what I would like to do is wish all the students the best of luck and follow some of those tips. Take a break, make a timetable, you know, spare out and vary out, you know, your revision. And remember, you can only do your best, as that is all that you can do. So until next time, this is SABIA KHATUN on Vodtalk. Stay safe and stay blessed.